I believe I looked it up exactly where you were. I think there was something like 63 species.
You would be correct, sir.
How many did you find, Phil?
That would be 0, sir.
0 salamanders.
0. Yeah.
Another.
Hello, I'm Nipper Reed.
And I'm Phil Wolf.
So, settle down, have a nice cup of tea, and enjoy the Venomous Exchange Radio podcast.
Crumpets, Nipper. I want the crumpets.
Well, as you've been such an extraordinarily good boy.
Well, hello, folks. Nice to be back. We've had a little bit of a respite because Phil and I have been desperately busy. Phil's been doing some very exciting things, which we'll get onto. But welcome to the Venom Exchange Radio review of the year. We thought we would have a little bit of a chinwag between Phil and myself and just chat through some of the things that have happened this year and some of the products and some of the experiences and some of the animals that have kind of been highlights for us, and a few other things as well. So without further ado, how are you doing, Phil?
I'm well, Nip. I'm very well. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than that, my friend.
That's very kind of you. I am not well. I have man flu at the moment, which you can probably
do.
hear. You can probably hear it in my voice. So I apologize to anybody listening that I sound dreadful at the moment.
You literally sound the same.
Okay, thanks. As we know, man flu is probably, above HIV and Ebola and all sorts of diseases as the worst disease known to mankind. And I hope I make it through the episode. So,
well, you have survived malaria, so I'm sure
I have had malaria, but I don't know. Even that is that as serious as man flu? I don't know. I'll do my best to soldier on.
And you've had your buttered toast and your hot cup of tea.
I have a hot cup of tea on the go, and I've had some there. So I think I'll be okay.
Excellent. Believe it or not, the there, especially from a significant other, makes a heap of difference.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. So I shall soldier bravely on, but I will be expecting tea and medals by the end.
In that order.
In that order, yeah.
In that order. And for those of you unaware, Nipper's wearing a lovely smoking jacket, and he has it bundled up oh so tight. He literally looks like he's not sick and he's full of shit.
There is some truth to that. But I am generally Tom and Dick at the minute. I'm not so good. But it is what it is. Yeah. Anywho, so moving on. First of all, we have some happy news.
Yes.
Yes, Philippe has made an honest woman of his missus for the about time.
Yep.
Congratulations, man. That's really cool.
Thank you very much. I'm just happy she said yes.
I'm amazed she said yes. I mean, not only is she lovely, but she likes to herp as well. It's like a lottery win.
She does. Meanwhile, we had planned a trip to the Blue Ridge Mountains, 9-10 months before I proposed. And I was like, you know what? This is going to be the perfect time to do it. The seasons and the color change and blah, blah, blah. Salamanders on the mind. And I've got messages from Nipper saying, it's been 24 hours. Why have you not sent me a picture of a freaking salamander? You're in salamander Mecca. And then I've got her sitting in the seat next to me going, how come you haven't found a salamander yet, bro?
Good girl.
Yeah. So I thought that her mom may have tipped her off to it because she just kept doing things that I thought she knew. I had a little tin valet key ring in the center console of my car, and I had picked up her beverage to hand it to her, and she goes, "What's that ring?" And I was like, "Oh, that's just the valet ring from when we got dinner the other night." And she goes, "Oh, okay." So in my mind, I'm thinking she knows. Her mom told her the gig is up, right? In her mind, it's like, "Oh, really? Whose ring is that?"
Yeah.
So, and then we get back we stayed in this little cabin in the middle of nowhere, and which is crazy because the Garmin worked like a son of a gun, but I still couldn't send test signals to the satellite. Oh. That's how deep these valleys were.
Yeah.
But we get back to the room and excuse me. And she's like, "Hey, I'm going to have a glass of wine, go take a shower. I'm just going to hang out for a little bit." I said, "Will you go take a shower first?" I'm like, "She's going to look for the ring." So I was like, let me take my pants with me, because it's in my pocket. So I take it in the shower with me. And lo and behold, she walks in the bathroom. She's like, I'm just putting some toiletries away. And I'm like, she's looking for the ring. She knows. Later on, my backpack spilled over because it's top heavy and it's all crap in it. And she's like, hey, your backpack fell over. I just kind of shoved everything back in it for you. I was like, she's snooping. She knows. And finally, I popped the question, and her words verbatim were, are you fucking with me?
Oh,
And I opened the ring box ever so elegantly. And that's when, the waterworks started and the happy and the hugs and all that.
that's awesome, mate. Congratulations.
And she actually had no idea. It was all in my mind. So
Yeah.
thank you.
More importantly,
Yes.
you were in North American Salamander Central. You were
I was.
ground zero for salamanders. I believe I looked it up exactly where you were. I think there was something like 63 species.
You would be correct, sir.
How many did you find, Phil?
That would be 0, sir.
0 salamanders.
0. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
good.
Not good. Not good.
Good.
And it was bad because I'm looking at iNaturalist, trying to see like where other people found salamanders near where I was staying. And they're all around me, but it's all private property. It's all people's backyards.
Yeah, right.
And that's what we call shotgun country. So you
Right.
don't just wander into people's woods. So
Yeah.
but I did hear coyotes every night. We heard
cool.
wolves howling at each other one night, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And we saw some beautiful waterfalls, and she said yes. So
That's the
Victory.
main thing. I'm only messing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And now she's got the amphibian bug in her mind. So we'll get her some red Fs and some tigers and marbles, and she'll be an amphibian girl in no time.
That's quality. And she's from Castellarizo, which is a fabulous place for
Carpathos.
Sorry.
Sir.
No, Castellarizo.
No, Carpathos.
No, she's from Castellarizo, isn't she?
No, she's from Carpathos City, Carpathos.
Oh, well, it's equally good.
Equally good.
Place. I'm confused now. Both islands are tiny and have salamanders on them, and they're really close to one another.
Yes,
she's from Carpathos.
Yes, closest to Turkey.
That's Castellarizo.
No.
Yes.
It's Carpathos.
Oh, okay. Was it a conversation to have off air?
Yeah. She and believe me, it's been burned in my mind.
Okay. I've been to both. I've herped both. They're both amazing, and both have an endemic salamander on them.
Yes. And I actually showed her that salamander from your photos, and she was amazed. She's like, I lived there my whole young adult life and never saw a single one. I was like, well, you weren't looking for them. So now we got to go back and find them.
You do have to go back and find them.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So what else has been happening?
Are we going to get into acquisitions? Are we going to
No. We're going to talk about you and your dirt snake.
Oh, my dirt snake. Yes.
Yeah.
So for those of you who follow the show or some of the other ones that Nipper and I partake with, I started keeping Actotaspis, the stiletto snakes. I'm down to 3 specimens from 4. And it's been a very bumpy road, but I'm very happy with the step-by-step progress that I'm having. They're starting to bask, they're shedding. So I've been trying to take more pictures and trying to save the sheds best I can. And I started taking notes. I started doing, note observations per Nipper and Scott's recommendation. So let me pull up my notes real quick. And recently, I'd always been told about, you can't pin stiletto snakes because they'll stab you. That's a fact. But it's also said not to tail them because they have a very pronounced spine on their tail. And for those who are unaware, most African species, some Asian species, some Australian species, they have a very defined tail spine. And the point is, let's say you're dealing with an African cobra, like a Cape cobra. If you were to tail that animal, if you were to pick it up by the tail and use a hook in the front end, a defense tactic is for that snake to stab you with the tip of its tail as a distractionary measure. So you look at your hand or you look at the, appendage that's being stabbed and not focus on the business end of the snake. And therefore that snake can spit at you or strike or whatever to try and evade you, the predator. Well, I wanted to kind of feel it. And I had an opportunity to do it in a relatively safe manner. And I would not condone anyone do this with a stiletto snake because of the high risk and the high danger factors that contribute with it. And forgive me if I'm rambling. I'm trying to put together the words and how to describe this. Excuse me. So if the animal was to be detained with a bite-proof glove such as hex armor, or if it was restrained within a restraining tube for medicinal purposes, and you wanted to touch the tail of the snake, in theory you could, but we recommend that you do not tail stiletto snakes in the least capacity. We do not recommend that you tail or use your hands in any kind of real capacity when dealing with anything in the Atractaspis genus. So there's the disclaimer. But I got stabbed really, really well. And it was an extremely unique sensation. Unlike anything that I've ever felt before. It was almost to the point where I can't anthropomorphize and say the snake knew exactly what it was doing, but the tail spine was so precise that it literally hit pinpoint nerve accuracy. It was stabbing on a minute neurological level to the point where I felt independent nerves twitching in my hand, and it produced a pins and needles sensation of sorts, almost to the point where I thought to myself, did I just touch the wrong end?
I was going to say, I bet you thought
I did
for a split second that you misaligned it.
Yeah, and because you tail enough Cape cobras, you tail enough snouted cobras, you're going to get stuck with the tail. They poke you, they prod you, they go up your wrist, up your forearm, and you ignore it because you know it's completely harmless. But this time, I literally was like, uh-oh, what just happened? You know, I wound up writing notes that I'll read to you guys because I didn't want to miss anything. So the minute I put the snake back in its enclosure and everything was confined and safe and secure, I wrote these notes. So if I may, let me put it this way. The snake proceeded to probe and spine the index and middle fingers with its tail spine. The spine was precise, a feeling of direct intent, almost to the degree of a nerve. Sharp pain and tingling on a neurological level shot through the hand, radiating and pulsating in a pins and needles sensation. Effects lasted over 10 minutes. Just a quick note so that I wouldn't forget exactly what it was. But that's literally it. It was scary, man. It was very interesting and very scary. And now I can imagine that if you're living underground, if you're a fossorial species and a third or 2/3 of your body is under dirt and soil, you can't necessarily just lash out and strike to defend the back end of your body. So having some kind of adaptation like that tail spine and being so precise with it in terms of its stabbing motion, I think it's a brilliant defense mechanism. Absolutely brilliant.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Was there any, you said it lasted 10 minutes. There's no numb patches on your hand now or anything like that?
No, not at all. It felt like my hand, it was basically very, very sharp pain that radiated on a neurological level through my fingers, through my palm. And then it went to a pins and needles feeling because it stabbed me probably 5-6 times within those 2 fingers. And then that pins and needles, that feeling that like you sat on your hand for too long, lasted probably about 8-9 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and then it was completely gone. And everything's totally fine. Like there's no venom in their tail or anything.
No, 100%. Yeah.
But it was an incredible experience, and I don't want people to rush out and go get one and start tailing it because bad things will happen. And we wanted to put out a huge disclaimer: don't fucking try this at home, kids. But it was incredibly unique, and I'm glad I got to experience it. I'm glad that I got to take notes on it, and it was very interesting, and it was a definitive reminder about complacency kills.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Even though you've been doing X, Y, and Z for X amount of years, complacency killed. Had I not taken certain precautions, it could have been very bad. I could have grabbed the wrong end.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah. Interesting. A great experience, but not to be repeated.
Yeah. Exactly. I can confidently say I'll never do that ever again. So
good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So what I've done is I put together a list of questions about the year. and I'm
Yes.
going to ask them. I'll give you my answers as well,
Yes.
and then we will crack on with that. Before that, have you got any good? Did you get any good Christmas gifts? We just after Christmas.
I did. Yes, I got Johan Marer's new version of a new volume of his Snakes of Southern Africa, which I thought was
Okay.
fantastic. I got Rick Shine's most recent book. That was a blessing.
Is that the so many snakes or something like that?
Yes, so
Yeah.
many snakes all the time.
Yeah.
And Anna Maria's mother got me Amphibians of Florida, a field guide.
Oh, fantastic!
So we're on the right path. But I'll tell you,
awesome.
Of all the Christmas gifts I got, excuse me, the most unique one was given to me by my good friend Marcus Andrade, circa from Ferrolingua. Check him out on Instagram. He's got a whole exotic game cooking and whiskey and pairings and all that jazz. So Ferrolingua on Instagram, check it out. But he gave me, him and I both share an affinity for Africa, and he got me some African gin. And excuse me, from what I gather, Africa, especially South Africa, is really booming in the gin right now. But this new brand called Indlovu, let's see if I'm saying that right. Indlovu. So Indlovu gin, and it says elephant forged botanicals. So what the hell does that mean? Indlovu gin is gin made from elephant dung.
That sounds yummy.
And basically, at some point, the manufacturers realized that elephants only digest 30% of what they consume. However, because their nose is so sensitive, they're choosing the finest botanicals in the bush, whether it be certain leaves, certain herbs, certain berries, but most of that is not getting digested. So what they do is they go to these different game reserves in Southern Africa and they harvest fresh elephant poo. They then take it back to their distillery where they dry it out, right? They dry it out, and then they basically add it to the distilling to get those rich botanicals. The cool thing is, on every bottle are two numbers. Let me see if I can get it. And it has a lot number and a date of birth. And the way the lot number works is it's the GPS coordinates of where they got the poo from.
That is amazing. I need that in my life.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be very, very good. It's supposed to be very smooth to the point where you don't need a mixer. You can just drink it over ice. And 15% of all the proceeds go back into elephant conservation and big game in Southern Africa.
Oh, that's
so
very,
I thought that was
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah, but Indlovu, so Indlovu, Indlovu gin, and elephant poo.
That is amazing. I need to get some of that. My other half would absolutely love that. Talking of presents from Africa, you have a present coming from me. Merry Christmas.
Really? Well, thank you, sir.
Two things that are holding it up. Number one, it's coming from Africa to the UK to then go to the US. And the second thing is the UK has a massive postal strike on at the moment. So
really,
there is no post going either in or out, and hasn't been for for weeks. I'm just getting mail today that was from the beginning of December. So
really,
yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, you actually have one coming as well. My reason is slightly more selfish. If I was going to send you this package before New Year's, it would cost me over $100 to ship it.
Do not do that.
So I'm waiting until January, and then you will get your Christmas gift.
Okay, that's great. Awesome.
So
that's
I figured
very cool.
you'd understand.
Oh, 100%, mate. 100%.
Yeah.
Right. I have a list of questions for you.
Let's rock and roll.
First one, thinking all these are for the past year. So we can start from the 1st of January. What should we start with first? What was your best acquisition in terms of species? And you've bought quite a lot this year.
I did. I went ham this year. My best, like my favorite, or like how are we categorizing this?
One that brings you the most joy when you look at it.
One that brings me the most joy when I look at it. Oh my gosh, that's tough. That is really tough.
It's a hard. You have rinsed it this year. You've got a lot of stuff,
I know.
particularly of late.
Yes. I'm literally looking at the racks in the room. It's tough because even though I got new acquisitions, the animal, like some of my favorites, don't tell them I said this. My favorites are some of the ones I've gotten in years past, but
No. This is just acquisitions for this year.
Acquisitions for this year. It's got to be the stilettos, man. It's got to be.
That's
as
cool.
much as I love some of the rattlesnakes that I recently got, which we can talk about in a little bit if you want.
Yeah.
The stilettos are just, they're so boring and so ugly, but so fascinating.
Why would you not want a tray of dirt in your house?
I know, and see, and that's the thing. Is like I go up there into the venomous room expecting to find a tray of dirt, and I go at different times of the day so I can kind of catch them off guard. And sometimes, most of the time, it's a tray of dirt. And then I come back a couple hours later, and it's sprawled out, basking in the morning sunlight.
Oh wow!
Or it's coiled up to the point where it has arcs of its body cresting over the surface layer of dirt, and it's almost like it's warming just that part of that section of its body. So incredibly fascinating on a legitimate nerd level. But yes, they are, tubs of dirt.
Tubs of dirt. I've got to be honest, mate. I've never kept them. I've only seen them in the wild. They're ugly snakes, man. They're ugly. They really are ugly and dangerous. Man. Not a great combination.
Well, just so that it makes Nipper happy, I will say that if it's not that, it's going to be the Crotalus morulus.
Yes, now we're talking. Proper snake.
And I'll even say specifically the Seropina Nevada locality.
Nice.
Yeah,
very
cool.
That
real copper color with the washed out sides of the saddles.
Yeah. Your Montane rattlesnake collection is booming at the moment.
It grew real fucking quick,
real fast and real big.
Yeah,
you did well. You've got some stellar acquisitions there. So really, really, really nice.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Super jealous. Some of those I don't think we'd be able to get over here. Just because of the localities.
I kind of screwed myself because I got all these animals and none of them have significant others. None of them have pairs. So I have friends who breed them, and I'm going to have to spend more money to get those pairs, which is fine. But on the bright side, I had ordered 2x2 black box front slider cages, which is their newest cage from blackboxcages.com. And they're going to be here just in time for my quarantine to be over. Fantastic. So now I have the perfect cages to set them up in.
Really looking forward to seeing those all set up. They are stunning. Absolutely.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, love them. For me, mine's obvious. I've wanted them for so long. Mine's Vipera monticola, the little tiny montane horned nose vipers. I just can't stop looking at. I can't believe I own them. I can't stop looking at them. Anyone who follows me on Instagram will know I'm just boring the shit out of people by posting loads of pictures. But
they're gorgeous, man.
They are phenomenally little cool species. If I would recommend anyone can get hold of them. Get hold of them. They're very, very good fun. So that would be mine, I think.
Hell yeah! And you got the Renardi this year too?
Yeah, I got Vipera Renardi, which lovely little insect-eating vipers. What's not to love?
Have you been feeding them crickets?
Yeah, the staple is I feed them mainly crickets. Occasionally, I'll give them. I have to go through a bag of pinks and find the smallest in the bags of pinks, and I'll give them pinks. But majority of the stuff is either it's very small desert locust or crickets.
Excellent.
They're cracking little things. And I've got my sidewinders. They're a close second. Sidewinders. Who doesn't love a sidewinder, to be fair?
Yep.
And again, I keep just taking picture after picture. I've got them on quite a nice sandy substrate with some different sands and some gravels in there, and they just disappear. It's incredible. Yeah, it's just fabulous. And I haven't seen them in the wild yet. I really do. That's for next year, 100%. I need to see some sidewinders, but that's my acquisition. So my next question to you: what was the best species you saw in the year just about to finish? in the wild?
Oh, that's tough, man. I mean, the one that comes out to mind and just slaps me is the Sonoran coral snake.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's so far up your street. It's
and
ridiculous.
it's such a blessing, a gift from God, because everything lined up perfect, and it just, you can't go looking for that.
100%.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't
It's
hurt for
purely
it.
luck
Yeah.
and gifts from God.
Yeah,
That's it.
that was. Yeah, that was. I'm going to be shit. I can't nail it. I know I put you on the spot, but I can't just say one. If I was pushed, and this is going to surprise you, I would say the favorite thing I saw this year was the Crotalus cerberus.
And that was my second. After the coral, that was my second.
Yeah, I mean, Willardi blew me away
Yeah.
because I've wanted to see it for so long, and it was beautiful. But I have never seen a snake that was so pretty.
Yeah.
And I wish my photos did it justice, and they don't. The colours on that looked like it was just incredible. It was like a child had painted it. It was, and just an incredible animal to see in the wild. Such a beauty. I mean, I've seen lots in at shows or in captivity or whatever, and they're very pretty. But that particular animal, the phenotype for that was just incredible. It was just
what I think is interesting is that when you look at your pictures of the Willardi, it looks like it did in the wild. When you look at my pictures, it looks like it did in the wild. When you look at Rob's, it looks like it did in the wild. And the same thing with the clobber.
Yeah.
When you look at my pictures of that Arizona black, and you look at your pictures, and you look at Rob's pictures, and it's literally the same exact snake, because all three of us are sitting next to each other in a line.
Yeah.
Each picture has different hues and different shades.
100%.
It just, I wish I could blur them all together to show the real, but you can't. It's impossible.
No, that was, I've been fortunate. I've herped all over the world, and I've seen some phenomenal snakes, but that, it's just the colors. It's the purples. There's not that many purple snakes. It was absolutely incredible. That's my favorite US wild snake I've seen. The other thing I saw, which again I've waited a long time to see, and just the story behind me finding it and everything, was the Milos viper.
Yeah, I knew you were.
Yeah, you knew I was going to say that. Yeah. Again, an absolute brute of a snake, and everything goes with it. The fact that you've got to travel to this little island, the history of the viper on the island, the fact that it is, it's a very, for Europe, it's a very, very dangerous snake. The size of them compared to most other European vipers, things like that, just an incredible experience. And the fact that I nearly sat on one. So
I will say this, I really admired that one video that you sent and we posted of you sitting with that one specimen, right?
Yeah.
And whether that was the one you were going to sit on or not,
but
the fact that you took the time to sit there, and whether you were photographing it and then you stopped to just take a break and just hang out. But I feel like we're oftentimes so rushed to get our photographs, take our scientific notations, our measurements, whatever it may be, and then let the animal be on its way. We rarely get a chance to sit and just be with the animal in the habitat.
100%. I mean, the beauty of that is that it just fed. So it wasn't intent on trying to, it was huge. You could literally see whether it eaten the little wildfowl that are in that pond, or whether it eaten some of the big Milos water frogs or whatever it was. You could see the lumps down its body. It had fed well. Yeah. So it really had no interest in it. It was relying on its cryptic camouflage. It thought I couldn't see it. It's just sat there. And I was able to sit with it, and I sat with it, I would say, probably an hour or more, just taking it in.
Very envious of that.
Looking at the other wildlife that was going on around it and stuff like that. It's just a phenomenal, really, a blessed experience, because oftentimes, the score, most snakes, you get a few minutes with them and then they're gone.
Yeah.
But no, that was cracking.
Yeah, and I felt like when we were with the Willardi and some of the clobs too.
Yeah.
We all subconsciously want to rush because we perhaps feel bad about the other people in the group.
Yeah,
Does
100%.
that make sense?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
feel like if we had come to a vote, and especially with the Willardy, and said, hey, who wants to sit and just watch it for a while? I feel like all of us would have agreed to it.
Oh yeah,
But
100%.
we don't even ask about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's I'm very envious of you with the Milos Viper that you got to
Yeah.
do that. That was pretty awesome.
Very, very cool. And I'm going to be cheeky again. So that
Good.
was an island endemic. So that
Okay,
yeah,
it doesn't
okay.
count. Doesn't
Doesn't count. That was
right?
on an island.
Yeah, it doesn't
So
count.
my mainland Europe find for this year is the Carpathian newt.
Excellent.
Little tiny brown newt. It was my last amphibian to see in Europe. So I'm done. Seen all the tailed amphibians in Europe, seen all the frogs in Europe, and all that sort of
Hell
thing.
yeah.
Sorry, it was my last tailed amphibian to see. I had the Milos frog, which I've seen now.
Yeah.
So that was my last sort of tailed amphibian to see. And the scenery and the surrounding was just, up in the Carpathian Mountains on the Slovakian border, just high altitude meadows, absolutely freezing cold, crystal clear water, only about 4 inches deep, but absolutely alive with these little brown newts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's my cheeky choices. So next question is, this is going to be, you're going to have to be careful here. What was your best herp trip this year?
No brainer. Going with you to Arizona.
Careful, in case
no brainer.
Careful in case the missus listens to this.
No, because see, that wasn't a herp trip. That was a romantic getaway with the possibility. That was a romantic getaway with the possibility of doing a little herping.
Okay, I'm writing that down. I'm going to use that. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a romantic getaway. We just may want to flip over some rocks from here and here.
Okay, I'm taking detailed notes for that.
Yes, please do. Yeah, and I will say this though, just thinking about like the species from this year and like the amount of species that we both checked off our list this year.
Oh, right? Ridiculous!
And I think to myself, Willardy was breathtaking, Clobberai breathtaking, right? Especially since it was completely different Clobberai that I've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I now have 3 more species of rock rattlesnake at home.
Oh,
it's like, yeah.
And for somebody like yourself that has traveled in that area, like West Texas and Arizona and New Mexico, you can now equate your snake with a mountain range, I think, or a sky island.
Yeah, sky island, yeah.
And I think that is fabulous. You see too many, I don't know what it's like in the States, but at some of the European shows, you'll see Clobberai for sale or Lepidus for sale with no locality data.
Yeah.
So it's a nice looking animal, but you've got no context to, is it the West Texas? Is it further down into Arizona? And you're going to try and breed that with another snake, possibly a different locality. So for you to having visited the different areas and know what because the Sky Islands, although I'm guessing, I've never heard West Texas, but I'm guessing the Sky Islands in West Texas are different to Arizona.
They're very different. And it's not so much Sky Islands as it is the foothills and mountains increase in elevation dynamically to the point where you get those subalpine species.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's not so much an isolated island as it is just the elevation got to that point to sustain those subalpine and alpine species.
Gotcha. Least, But for yourself to having herped the area and now have that particular snake that you can look at, and I don't have a massive experience, although I read tons about it. I haven't got a physical experience of it, but I'm starting to be able to look at cloud patterning and think, I reckon that's from that area.
Yes,
there is subtle differences between even quite close Sky Islands.
Yeah,
there's a different phenotypical sort of look to them. But yeah, your collection is going to be I'm so jealous.
And it's funny, is like you look at someone like Kyle, right? The Club King, right?
God, yeah.
So naturally, when I was making these acquisitions of these new rock rattlers, I obviously looked to him for advice.
Yeah, 100%.
I didn't buy the animals from him, and he didn't have to help me at all, but he took so much time to help me and steer me in the right direction. And he's just such a wonderful human being. I can't speak highly enough about him. But for him to look at a cell phone picture and be like, "Oh no, that's Pina Nevada."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "It's supposed to be such and such." No, man, that's Pina Nevada. And I go, "Okay." And I go on iNaturalist, and by God, he is 1,000% correct.
Of course he is.
And it's just that now I feel like, I don't know if it's necessarily the next chapter in the herping and like in the herpetoculture and the keeping and all that, but it's definitely a reminder that we don't have to stick to the same old thing. We can expand our horizons, and there's just more gateways and doors everywhere.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
100%. There's a big rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah. And I asked Anna Maria, I said, "So you want to go have our honeymoon in Durango, Mexico?" And she's like, "No, what, no." I said, "Look, we'll hire the HerpMX guys. They'll, grease some palms. We'll be fine." She goes, "No, we're not looking for rattlesnakes on our honeymoon." Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, obviously that's a ridiculous place to go for a honeymoon when there's so many vipers in Europe to see.
And see, I thought you were going to make a cartel joke.
No.
Nice.
No. Yeah, you need to get out to Carpathos then.
We do. She's debating this summer. I got to talk to her, and I still got to renew my passport, man. I told myself I wanted to have it done before the new year, so now I have. That's my New Year's resolution, is going to be
sort it out.
I'm never going to get to North Africa with you if I don't.
100%. Yeah. So Arizona was your trip.
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. For me, Arizona, obviously, nothing's going to top Arizona because, as I've said thousands of times on various podcasts, and that everything was new for me. And hearing rattlesnakes for the first time in the wild, and just being with all the NPR guys and getting to touch you in person was amazing. So that is a given, and just the scenery of Arizona is like nothing else, and
it's so diverse.
Yeah, and I know it's not particularly your thing, but the birds were incredible, and the insects, and particularly the dragonflies, which is another love of mine, were just all amazing. So that's great. For Europe, because I did quite a few European trips this year, for me, I'm going to go for Bulgaria. Frustratingly, I didn't find the target species that I wanted to see, but the trip as a whole was so good. I mean, I went with my, a very old friend and dear friend of mine, Trevor Willis, excellent herper, and we found so much stuff, and we had such a laugh, even though the conditions were really, really hard. It was a really lovely trip. So yeah, that's going to get my vote. Even though I didn't find the bloody blotch snake again, it'll happen.
Hey, look, it's just like us in Price Eye. It's an excuse to go back.
Oh, don't even start me on Price Eye, mate. Bloody Justin and Dustin just wandering around like fops, tripping over them.
Yep.
So there's us breathing out of our asses trying to get to these random places. Not a thing.
You and I stepping over what we thought were crickets, and we're probably fucking rattlesnakes.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting. I don't know, I can't remember the name of the place. There was we went somewhere where there was a lookout, like a pile of rocks with like a little wooden platform. I don't know if you can remember it. It was near, what's the very famous talus slope that we went to first?
Barfoot.
It was there.
Okay.
There was a rock platform. That's dignifying it too much. It was a pile of rocks with some planks on it, and it was like a view type thing.
Sure.
And there I heard such a high-pitched little noise that I didn't equate what I think I was listening to.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely have to go back and find that. It's very high on my tick list.
For sure.
Yes. So, what was your best book of this year?
Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. Jeez. It's got to be Scott and Ties.
Yes,
It's got to be.
Yeah, 100%.
Australasian Elapids.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure. Yeah,
I got the book to model all books.
Yeah, 100%. It was almost too obvious a choice, but I've got that as my book of the year.
Yeah.
If anybody is into the venomous snakes of Australia, you must buy it. If you're into elapids in general, you must buy it. And even if you're just into the husbandry and keeping of snakes, just, it covers so much. There's such good husbandry trips in there, whether you're into venomous or non-venomous or elapids or whatever you're into. It is a tomb. It's such a great book.
Legit.
I would strongly recommend it to everybody.
It itself could be a home defense weapon.
It rivals the snakes of Arizona in its home defenseness.
It does. It very much does.
Yeah. Which is another great book. But I think that came out a little while ago. But I would recommend that to anyone herping Arizona.
Absolutely.
The depth of information in there is insane.
Yeah.
But I think my book is going to be, and it's kind of an old book, but I only got it this year, and it's The Rattlesnakes of Arizona.
Nice.
Just the illustrations, the Tel Hicks illustrations, and it's such a phenomenally well put together book. So that's going to be my choice, I think.
It's good, man.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah. So this is going to be a contentious one. Best podcast of the year. Or not best, your favorite podcast of the year.
And so we've talked about this on other shows, and I don't think I've gone full in depth, but because this is our show, I don't give a shit. I'm going to just flat out say it. There are some shows that I only get to listen to and from work. I don't listen to it when I'm doing cleaning and maintenance because of a safety factor. And at the same time, if I'm focusing on the animals, I'm not listening to the information. I feel like I'm cheating myself.
Yeah.
So it's very rare that I get through an entire podcast in one sitting. It usually takes me 2 or 3 days to go through it. So sometimes if it's not my cup of tea, I'll come back to it or whatever. The one podcast that I never lose interest, I always am excited about it, is Colubrid Radio.
Good choice. Yeah.
And I can confidently say that Dr. Loafman and Matt Most, they do a hell of a job, and it's always riveting and fun. And the scientific stuff, if it's above my pay grade, it is laymanized, if you will, and I understand it, and they're so comprehensive in the way that they show people things and explain things, and the guests that they're bringing on. It's a great show. So that's going to be my pick for the year.
That's a good choice. I completely agree. I mean, I do keep colubrids. I wouldn't say I'm a massive keeper, but I do have a fair few species, and I'm the same. I listen to every one, whether there's species on there I know I'm never going to keep.
Yeah,
Asian rat snakes, not for me. But I'm fascinated. I'll listen to the show. It's a really good listen. I would agree with that. But that's not my choice. I cheat, but I've got the list of questions. I've got a few. For me, carpets and coffee.
I know that's your go-to.
That's my go-to because of the informality of it, and because half the time they're just chatting shit, and it's very low key. Like you said, I do listen to a lot of podcasts not when I'm doing venomous handling, but if I'm cleaning the other stuff out and things like that, I will have a podcast on in the background, and it's just such a good vibe. It's such a happy, chill vibe. So I quite like that. My singular favorite episode, I think, for this year was a Reptile Fight Club episode.
Okay.
Not going to do the episode that was a car crash, which was amazing and funny, and I just listened to it again and again and again. But I'm not going to listen to that one. It was the the road trip episode when they recorded in the car.
Listen, I loved that episode.
Yeah.
And I felt like Chuck and Doc and even Dustin, I felt like they kind of, I don't want to say they poo-pooed it, but I know they were displeased with it and they had to record it twice. And that episode was gold.
100%. And I'm going to rip that off like fuck. We are definitely, next time we go on a hurt trip, going to do that.
1,000%.
It was such a good vibe. You know, you could hear the car noise in the background. You could hear the traffic going by.
Mm-hmm.
It was like just being on a hurt trip. It was great.
And you and I were just in that car with them.
Yeah.
And it brought back so much rapid nostalgia.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But I thought such a really enjoyable show. Yeah, I know they didn't particularly like it as one of their episodes. I thought it was phenomenal. More shows.
It was great.
Yeah, more shows like that.
Yeah.
And another one that I really, really like, probably out of your wheelhouse, not your cup of tea, is Amphibicast.
They are hitting it out of the park.
What a great, consistently good podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember how many episodes he's up to now. It's 150 or over 150, something like that. Every single one, the production quality is great. The guests are really good. Information is, is put out in a really usable way. Lots of variation on what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Just consistently good. So that probably gets my overall winner.
Nice. It's a great choice. And they do such a great job because I feel like they were podcast listeners who knew what they wanted.
Yeah.
So they knew what to bring.
Yeah, it's just slick. It's the production quality and everything. It's a really I don't want to say underrated because that's rude. What I mean is I think it should be more popular than it is. It's a popular podcast, but I think it should be a lot more popular than it is. That's a really cracking podcast.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Yes. Yes, there we go. Now another contentious one. Who is your herping personality of the year?
Oh, geez.
You can't say me, obviously.
Well, I mean, my herping personality of the year. I want to say Dustin, but he already has so many accolades and everything else.
Yeah,
we know that the kid's fucking fantastic.
He's useless.
We know that he is just a sloppy redneck who plays with rattlesnakes.
He has got a banjo and a rifle rack.
He does.
And no teeth.
Yeah, there's no floorboards to his truck. You have to pedal like Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, he doesn't wear shoes.
Oh man, there's a lot of people, but I would have to say, I'm trying to think. I'm going to say Luke Kemp in South Africa.
Oh wow, okay.
Luke Kemp in South Africa has put out some amazing photography. He just put out a series of photos for different books and different literature, and he was kind enough to send me landscape photos of certain species I was keeping, and the guy's just dialed in, you know, and I hope to one day get down there to meet him in person and everything else. But just, it's tough because you get a lot of herpers finding a lot of animals, and they all take the same style of photo. It just depends on what little nuances they put into it. But his photos are switched on. I love his stuff. And I'm kind of torn because I wanted to say Tyrone Ping.
Okay.
And I feel like the two of them, they do work together on occasion, friends. But I like what Luke's done, and I'm pleased with his work.
No, that's a good choice. Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is possibly a little obvious, but I'm going to go for it anyway. I was going to say Dustin, but I'm fed up with him.
Yeah,
with his ridiculous good looks and
I know
luck in the field. So
it's annoying.
Oh yeah, I can't wait till he gets fat. It'll come to him one day.
Oh God, you know he's going to listen to this too, which is the best.
I hope so.
Part. The best part.
Yeah. I think most people find stuff for him. I think he just trips over stuff, really.
Well, he paid people to plant stuff when we were out there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I mean, the guy's a buffoon. No, he's an awesome herper, and he is definitely the future. But too obvious because he's been bigged up on too many podcasts. So I'm going to go for Kyle.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Cloud King
Hell yeah.
because not only does he maintain a phenomenal collection and maintains it really well, which is an art in itself, he is so focused on what he does in terms of field herping in the United States, which is incredible. Really, I admire somebody that I don't have the discipline to keep going back to the same places and trying. I'm like a child, I need to just keep seeing new stuff all the time, but to keep going back to the same spot and getting more data and photographing different snakes from that area and just building up such a really good reference work on the local to him rattlesnakes and stuff like that. Phenomenal. Really, really cool.
And he just had a trip overseas.
I was going to say, but the other thing about him is he kills it as an international helper.
Yes, he does.
Not wishing to be rude to our lovely American audience, but most Americans don't travel that much. You might pop.
They don't travel at all.
No, you might pop to Costa Rica. You might go to, Bali or something like that. You don't go far many times. Most of you don't herp that far away. But he's killed it. I mean, he's done some great trips with people in Europe. And as you say, the photographs from his South African trip, Namibia trip, wow. I mean, just
amazing.
Phenomenal photography. And having herped, not that area, but having herped in deserts like that, it's hard to get great photographs. Your camera's buggered by the amount of sand. The light is so harsh. And, his pictures have been absolutely outstanding. So,
yeah,
fair play. I'm looking forward to some of his other trips now. I think he was talking about going to the Caucasus and trying to do some of the Armenian stuff and places like that. Georgia, maybe.
Hell yeah.
That would be incredible. Looking forward to seeing his pictures from those sort of vipers. But yeah,
I'm still waiting for the rest of the African stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he still has Cordylis that he hasn't posted. He's got more.
Oh no, he posted one, didn't he? That was a great photograph.
Great photo. Photo.
But the bittest pictures, oh my days.
I know. Chondrodactylus too.
Yeah. Oh. And even some of the species he found. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm not saying nothing is ever easy. And I'm not saying there's bitter species that are easy to find.
Right.
Maybe puff adders. But he found some really rare species. Really, really rare. Just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, he's my person of the year.
Excellent.
What's the next? Oh, this will be interesting. What was your product of the year? What have you bought? What bit of kit have you bought this year? I think I know what you're going to say. What is your bit of kit that you bought this year that is your favorite bit of kit?
What am I going to say?
I think you're going to say your GPS.
1,000%.
Yeah. Life-saving,
And here's the thing is I find myself playing with it for two reasons. One, in my mind, I'm paying, $12 a month to keep the thing fucking running. So I might as well use it. Right. But at the same time, it's infinite.
100%.
There's so much to go off of. And now I'm literally holding it next to the computer screen on iNaturalist and Google Maps and everything else, trying to get everything together.
Yeah. In this day and age, when people are going, not even further afield, but even local herping, how can you not go out with one? Is my question.
Exactly. Especially Garmin makes wristwatches now.
Yeah.
For $200, $300, you can have a GPS wristwatch.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
But just that, from a safety perspective, if you're going to go somewhere a little bit gnarlier, you've got that ability to at the very least, find your way back to the car.
Right.
If you go for the higher options like yours, you can send SOS text from it anywhere in the world, which is just a game changer. You know,
Yeah.
none of us, well, not many of us can afford the satellite phones, but to have the ability to send a text anywhere in the world that says, "Please help me, I've run out of toilet paper," or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
Absolute game changer. Why would you not? You know, people spend hundreds of dollars on a pair of trainers that they're going to wear for 2 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you not have that in the field?
Yeah.
And and obviously for recording all the data, it's 100%. It's
Yeah.
an essential piece of kit. I would be uncomfortable to be on a herp trip where there wasn't one on the trip.
Agreed.
With somebody.
Agreed.
I certainly can't think of a trip in the last decade that I've done where there wasn't one.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah, I just, even down to, I was watching a Netflix documentary on the earthquakes on Everest, which I'd recommend to everybody if you haven't seen it, on there at the minute.
Cool.
And it brought back loads of memories for me because I've trekked through that area, Everest Base Camp and Kumbaisor and all that sort of stuff. But the point is, during the earthquakes, some trekkers got detached from everybody else. They're on their own, a very difficult situation, and they did exactly that. They text from their GPS, and a helicopter came and found them. You know,
it's the way to do it.
What else? Yeah, what else?
And I tell people I would rather have a legitimate communication device like a Garmin texting, right, than I would a traditional sat phone. Because not only do I have to pay for the device itself, which is really expensive compared to the GPS units, but now I have to buy phone cards, and and they expire. The minutes expire, and then at the same time, now I have to hope that there's a good connection. I have to get to a higher elevation.
Yeah.
Whereas on the actual communications device, if you and I are in the bottom of a valley, and as long as I have a clear view of the sky, it's going. It's sending.
100%. Yeah.
And that's and with pre-programmed preset messages. And here's the best part. I actually put Nipper's actual cell phone in there so that I could text his cell phone. I could text my mom's cell phone wherever we are. So it's not just like, oh, you have to have like 5 pre-programmed. No, it's anyone you want. I literally upload my entire contacts list.
Yeah.
So it's infinite.
Yeah, phenomenal. So yeah, I 100% agree. You know, if there's anybody herping regularly that hasn't got one, please just get one.
Yeah.
You know, it is an essential. Don't buy that next ball python. Just get yourself a decent sat nav, just GPS.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
100%.
You have a 5400, right?
I've got the same one as you, but I don't have the text. Don't have the text facility.
Okay.
But I'm going to upgrade, I think, because I think that is mine's getting on a bit now. So yeah, I think I will upgrade and get the one with the text facility because I think it's genius idea.
Yeah, and now they're coming out with a I can't remember the number, if it's 5600, I think, where it's going to have a full smartphone screen. So you'll have the swiping, like the rapid text swiping and all that. I mean, it's a no-brainer,
Yeah, 100%.
So what about you, man?
Right, mine. I'm going to cheat again. I'm going to have 2.
Go for it.
My first one, as I've banged on about on lots of other podcasts and things, is I'm not sure what it's marketed at in the US, but in the UK, it's the Evo 3. What they call it? It's a thermostat, but they call it's more than a thermostat. It's a controller. So
environmental controller.
Environmental controller. It will do a bank of 5 VIVs. It's Bluetooth enabled. You can do anything you want as long as you've got anywhere in the world, as long as you've got an internet signal. It'll do humidity. You can program it for gradual temperature ranges, everything. It's just a phenomenally good piece of kit. We are so far away from the old fashioned Habistat or whatever you were using, Komodo.
You mean a wall timer and a surge protector like me?
All that. So we're so far away from all that stuff now that there's no excuses. They're not even that expensive. In the UK, I think they retail for around about £100. But that's 5 VIVs sorted for £100.
Yeah. and sorted correctly,
sorted correctly,
not just willy nilly,
not just on and off either. Gradually on, gradually off. Literally warming up to a lunchtime high, and then cooling off for the evening. So for breeding
and then
purposes,
you said it does 5 stats. Can you do different gradients for different stats, or is it all the same?
It's got 3 channels on it.
Oh, amazing!
So yeah, it's just phenomenal piece of kit. I think going forward, I think we're going to see an uprise in the rarer species, or not the rarer species, the more difficult to breed species starting to be bred, because I think now we can really tune in our husbandry in terms of lighting and temperature, which we've maybe not had the ability to do in the past. We've got the T5 kits, or whichever variant you want to use. We've got the Arcadia do them, other people do them. We've got the UVA bulbs. We've got the deep heat projectors now. We've got stats that all literally take the temperature up by degree throughout the day and down by, so we can literally research a species and recreate it, not perfectly, but we're getting there
pretty damn well. Yeah,
pretty damn well. Yeah. And so if we
LED UV,
I mean, the difference I have seen in my animals by putting full spectrum LEDs in there and things like that, just visually for me to look at the animals, but also in the activity from the animals, and they just pop under them. It's things are improving at such a dramatic rate. We're nowhere near as advanced as the marine keepers and the coral keepers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that is where we're heading. That's what we should be aiming for. So that's one thing, the Evo. But my other one is the other end of the scale. So we've gone from completely high-tech amazingness to as basic as fuck. And to my shame, I'd never seen one before until we went to Arizona. It's the stump ripper.
You're kidding.
No, nobody in Europe uses those. Never seen one before.
Interesting.
What a great bit of kit.
Yeah.
All the damage over decades of field herping I've done, bending over and pulling logs up and all that sort of stuff, where you lot are all walking around like English gentlemen in Edwardian times.
Yes.
Just tapping logs and pulling them over. Yeah, definitely. What a great bit of kit.
Yeah.
I shall definitely invest in one of those. But very, very simple. But why are we not using them in Europe? I don't know. European herping is really hands-on. It's literally on your knees pulling stuff over.
There's also a big stigma with the stump ripper, obviously the name, which is why I think a lot of Americans prefer to call it a field hook, right?
Okay, I apologize.
It wasn't a crack at you. I was just saying that I call it a stump ripper. Most of our friends call it stump rippers, but we try to say field hook because when you insinuate that you're ripping up a stump, there's so much damage and displacement and all that, but which you've seen us use it in field, like that's not the case.
No, it's no different from me just rolling a log over.
Exactly. We're putting it back exactly where it was. It's just now I'm not, ruining my back trying to do it. So
100%. No, that's a great bit of kit. A very, very cool bit of kit. Yes. So that was all my questions.
That was all of them.
You got anything for me here?
I do. What do you want to see regarding this show? What are some of the things you want to see within the next couple of weeks, if not months?
On this show?
I
would love, and I'm trying to convince, people think it's easy to get guests. It's not. Not many people want to talk. They'll talk to you in person for hours and hours and hours, but it's really difficult to get somebody to speak on a forum where thousands of people are going to listen to it.
Not to mention it's recorded forever.
And it's recorded forever. And we don't mind. We just chunter on forever. But a lot of people don't on that. I would love to get some of the Spanish guys that I talk to. And I appreciate, of course, it's easy for me and you. Well, me, I speak English. You kind of speak English, American English. But I appreciate, for someone when English is their second language, it's difficult. But I would love to get some of the Spanish guys on.
Absolutely.
to talk about the Spanish vipers, because the chaps I talk to, they're so knowledgeable and they're so passionate about the Spanish vipers. And Spain is an absolutely, or Spain and Portugal, I should say, Iberia is a better way of putting it. And the vipers from that area, which is a huge proportion of, if you look at a map, Spain and Portugal make up such a massive part of Europe. And so the vipers there's so many subspecies and so many phenotypes and stuff like that. And they're so knowledgeable. I would love to get them on to talk about that. That's one thing.
That would be awesome. That would definitely be awesome.
That would be very cool. What else? I would like to talk to some more widespread American venomous field herpers. So Floridian, is that a word?
Floridian, you got it.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to some Floridian herpers. And forgive my American geography, but you've got California there, haven't you?
Right.
What's over the other side? So you've got
Georgia, South Carolina,
Georgia, South Carolina, that sort of area. I'd like to talk to some people from there.
Yeah, we call that the Southeast.
Yeah, that sort of area. I'd love to talk to some some people. There are people that I'd love to get on the show that are experts in Eastern Diamondbacks that I'd love to have a chat. Hopefully they'll get back to us at some point.
Yes.
I'd love to talk to some Asian keepers and field herpers, particularly, Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia. And again, I mean, there's some cracking field herpers in that sort of part of the world. I'd love to chat to them.
Yeah, definitely more from the Malay Peninsula.
Yeah, 100%. I'd like to talk to somebody that's kept and done work with captive insularis.
Sure.
Particularly, that would be fascinating. I think it's something I would be interested in. People that have experience with some of the harder to keep species of venomous snakes, stuff like that. It's just convincing somebody that it's okay to talk on the podcast,
and then figure out schedules.
And this obviously, we're 5 hours apart. But then if you throw in, Asia or Australia or something like that, it becomes very, very complicated.
Yes, it does.
What about yourself?
I would like to see more bugs, more venomous arachnids and the like. I want to get some tarantula people in here. I want to get some centipede people in here. That's more scorpion people if we can.
And of course, the thing I forgot, which I love, and I used to breed myself, more heloderma people.
Yes. You and I both have some Gila people, both in the field and science, as well as the captive and collector. So we definitely got to get them in. I also wanted to try and get some people, whether it be in Europe or Asia or North America or what have you, that are building products catered towards our style of keeping, whether it be venomous, naturalistic, whatever.
Yeah.
And kind of see what it goes with that, and maybe get some habitat specialists, if you will, maybe even people that work in the zoo field that do some habitat, habitat related episodes, that kind of thing. That's for sure. And then you and I have a laundry list of guests that are like, we'll get to it. Oh, we'll do it next month. And we got to get on them. So that I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about pairings for this spring?
So many. So I'm really keen. If we're talking just venomous, I think my top venomous pairing will probably be my Vipera latasti Gaditania.
Hell yeah.
The female is absolutely stunning. I'd love some offspring from her. I will pair my various groups of pygmies together because the babies for those are phenomenal. I think a lot of my venomous stuff may be too young at the moment. So if I can sort out another male, I'd like to, because last time the female Chlorechis ate the male when I paired them, so I need a new. Yeah, that wasn't a great day out. So I need to find another male, but I'd love to breed her because for a Chlorechis, she's huge. She's really cool.
Nice.
Non-venomous wise, I've got a raft of stuff to pair up. Predominantly, my Apodora is my real.
That's your goal.
That's my golden goose. That is the one I'm really into. So they're going to get paired this week, which is always very nerve-wracking because, as you know, they can be quite aggressive towards one another.
Oh yeah,
and they're big snakes. They're like 12 foot, so trying to untangle that. But I've also just put together my water pythons, so I'm hoping they're on the cusp of being old enough. So we'll see what happens there. My Maclots are already paired, and I'm just starting to warm my king snakes and milk snakes now, so they'll be going together.
It's good, man.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. And what about you? Atractaspis, probably.
Yeah, definitely not. I just need to keep them alive. That's just the goal. The goal is keep those guys alive. In terms of venomous, it will definitely be. So the Rincals, one pair of Rincals will get paired in the beginning of March. That's the goal with them. Marcus and I are going to pair some Cerastes in April. We just went through every single one and we're very male heavy. So we're basically going to pick the best looking boys and throw them to all the girls and just kind of mix it up and see what goes on. Obviously keep track of things, but if we get some locks, then fantastic. If we don't, then we know we got to change some things for next year. I'm definitely going to pair pygmies this year. I'm going to do, because now I've got 2 adult females, one of which is that new striped one I just got. Mm-hmm. So I have Palm Beach County locality that'll be pure, and then I'm going to take a Palm Beach male and breed it to that striped one just to kind of see what happens. Might as well. And then what else? Venomous. I think that's going to be it for venomous pairings this year. Will just be that, because I'm going to probably do 4 pairs of Cerastes.
Wow.
Just to kind of, I don't want to go. I mean, we have way more animals, but I don't want to. Mm-hmm. I don't want to bite off more than I could chew, and I kind of want to see what actually takes. And this is my first time doing it, so if I make mistakes, at least in theory, I know it sounds morbid and cold, but I'll have backups. Yeah. And as for non-venomous, I will be pairing the Fuscus probably and I'm thinking middle to end of January. I'm going to pair them, or I'm going to start bringing them up in like a week. And then knobtails and barking geckos, and I'm gonna try and do the Rhodesian girdles again.
Wow!
And I'm kind of afraid. So I've got one girl that's murdered another girlfriend and a boyfriend.
Wow!
So what I think I'm gonna do is I have a 6-year-old boy that's half her size. And I think I'm going to put him in there and just see what he does. And if she kills him, I know that she has to basically be on her own for the rest of her life. Yeah. I'll just leave it be.
Yeah.
So I hate to guinea pig him like that, but he's either going to succeed with flying colors or die trying.
Good boy.
Yeah, right. But other than that, I think that's going to be it for pairings this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I too have a lot of colubrids that I'm raising up. So the field eye are not nowhere near ready yet.
No, I was going to say
they probably could, but I don't want to.
No, there's no need to rush. You don't want to take the time of the female. I forgot. I've just paired the Sanzinia as well. So
nice.
Yeah,
nice. And you've got both phenotypes?
No, I just got the Mandarin.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
So we'll see what they do. Yeah, exciting. I love this time of year when you're just about to pair everything and see what you get. I've got an absolute raft of lizards to go together or are together already. So
that's good.
That'll be very
You already did all the Coleonyx?
I've got Coleonyx eggs in the incubator at the minute.
Hell yeah.
I haven't got all the species. I keep Mitratus, Variegatus, and Brevis.
Good.
But if I find any of the others for sale, I will snap them up. They're not so common over here, But yeah, I love them. So I've got multiple pairings of each type. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
Got my Ciliatus should be old enough now. My Oidura Manolis should be old enough now. My Oidura Castle Nowy should be old enough now. So they're all we'll try all those, plus all the Felsumas and the Timon Lepidus as well. I should put together. Cool. They're all hibernating at the moment.
And this is your first time trying the Ciliaris?
Yeah, they've not been old enough before, so we'll see what happens there.
You got to record it, man. I got to see it.
Yeah. There was some. I saw some tenuous digging.
Okay. All right.
I'm possibly reading too much into it, but yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
They could be dipping a toe in like Bugs Bunny, you know.
Yeah, you never know. So no, but it keeps me. You know, a lot of the snake stuff can be quite sedentary and quite nocturnal, whereas most of the lizards, that's why I keep Felsumas and things like that. They're so active. I mean, I've got a beautiful slice of rainforest that's got the Lycodactylus gecko, Lycodactylus coraui in.
Excellent.
And I've got just a huge group in there in a really, really bioactive tank. I mean, the tank's been bioactive for 2 years or something like that before I even put the lizards in there.
Oh, so that's great.
It's just been, it was just more like gardening for like 2 years. And the plants are fabulous.
Just letting it get funky.
Just letting it get in there, the isopods and all that lot in there. And I've got these geckos max out at about 3.5 centimeters. They're micro geckos.
Nice.
And I watch it for hours. Just, you know, the interactions between the watching the different males fire up when one strays into its territory. I mean, the tank's big enough that they've all got enough space to and enough places to get out of each other's way. But if two males come into contact with one another, they fire up. It's brilliant. It's so interesting. I've got shed loads of eggs, so you know something's going well in there.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the next season. So looking forward then, if we're looking forward, what trips have you got planned for next year?
I have nothing planned.
Right.
I am a useless shite.
You are.
I am. I really do need to renew the passport because I feel like once I do that, I'm going to have the gumption to make brash decisions and willfully waste money. But all joking aside, I only get 2 weeks a year vacation, so I have to be very, very
100%
meticulous as to how I do it.
Yeah.
And obviously, I have to consult the missus first and make sure that we're going to do our vacation together and that kind of thing. See where she wants to go and what she wants to do. And then after that, once those decisions are made, I still have to factor in the Daytona Expo because that's our annual pilgrimage. And then see what Herp and I can do because I would love to make it across the pond if I could afford it. So
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, I've got a ton of trips booked.
You do. You are booked up for the year already.
I am booked up for the year already. I get about 3 months leave a year. I'm very fortunate.
Must be nice.
It must be nice. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm worth it, I find. But
you are.
Yeah, I'm worth it. I have got a raft of trips. My first trip is in 4 weeks' time. So just into the new year, I'm going to Gran Canaria.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, it's I'm trying to see all the herps of the Canary Islands. I don't count them on the European list, but it's close enough.
Close enough.
And the Canary Islands, from a herping point of view, is absolutely fascinating because the islands, I think there's 7 islands, and they're all really close together. I mean, you're talking a 20-minute boat ride between some of the islands,
right?
And yet each island has endemic species.
That's incredible.
And you're talking like the surface area of some of these islands to have an endemic species is minute. It's incredible.
Now, forgive me, was the Cow Kings in Cape Verde or in Canary?
That you're right. It's the problem, and one of the reasons I think that the Cali Kings, all that complex, has been banned in Europe is because of the problems in the Canary Islands.
Canary Islands, okay.
Yeah. So you've got an island. You've got the Canary Islands are largely volcanic. So very sort of similar to parts of California,
Yeah.
temperature-wise and geology-wise. So, the snake just thrives there. For a lot of the lizards on the island, there's no snakes naturally on any of the islands. So the lizard fauna is really good. The lizards don't have any real natural predators other than Eleonora's falcon and things like that. There's a few little falcons, but
Right.
some of the lizards on these islands, because they've had, they've had no natural predators, they get quite big. So the falcons are a massive problem. But now some absolute dirtbag has released California king snakes, which are thriving there because the massive food source in terms of the biodiversity of lizards, and no natural predators to kill them. I mean, there's feral cats in some areas, but not enough to make a dent. So it's been a real problem. That aside, yeah, I'm looking forward to Gran Canaria. Has got the type of lizards, the genus in the Canary Islands is the Galatea lizards, and some of them are quite small, sort of like fence lizard size,
Right.
But some of them get a nice size. I'm trying to think of an equivalent US lizard. Probably
Like a collared lizard,
chuckwaller size.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that sort of fairly hefty lizards.
Bearded dragon size.
Bearded dragon size, but
Yeah.
but different shape, long and thin, really long tails, big heads. If you're familiar with Timon lepidus,
Yeah, so very lacerted.
yeah, very lacerted, but Timon nevadensis and Timon lepidus very similar to the Canary Islands lizards.
Excellent.
So yeah, Gran Canaria. I've done some of the other islands, so this time it's Gran Canaria, and then after that, I'm going to Menorca, which is one of the Balearic Islands. There's a couple of snakes there that I've already seen, but I want some better photographs of them. They've got Algerian full smooth snake and things like that, which are
Very cool.
kind of an introduced species, like a Pistoglyphus species. But so yeah, do that, and then fingers crossed we have the NPR trip to Utah in May.
Very cool.
Which is going to be amazing. So many. I mean, Rob's on the case already. You know what he's like. The itinerary will be phenomenal. The amount of species is already, my big want for Utah, that sort of area, is the midget faded rattlesnake.
Really? More so than the Latosis?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really interested in the midget faded rattlesnake.
When you see a big hefty Latosis that's black and cream, like an Oreo cookie,
yeah,
you're just going to lose your shit.
Oh, 100%. Don't get me wrong. There's some lovely species there, but I just think my top species would be the midget faded, because I'm interested in it. I'm not saying visually that it's the nicest looking. I'm interested in that species. I mean, there's some phenomenal species in that area, pyros and stuff like that. Which would be super cool to see.
And Heloderma cinctus.
Yeah. Also, you know what I'll be like, mate. I'll be just wandering around grinning and like a kid in a sweet shop again.
Yes.
So there's that trip, and then I can come back from there, and then I'm going to Crete.
Ooh.
Which I'm really looking forward to. Really, hopefully, fingers crossed, a good cruise to go there. I think there'll be 4 of us going. And that's one new tick for me on the island. That'll leave me with 2 species left to see.
Nice.
Yeah, so that would be cool, and the company will be great as well. Hopefully, that'll be Trevor again, and another good friend of mine who's cracking field herper, Kevin, and another friend, Rob, who's into his field herping as well. So a nice blokey trip away to Crete, and then
a boys' trip to Crete.
Boys' trip to Crete. Coming back from there, and then I'm doing. Which is going to be first. I'm going to try and do Carpet Fest, North American Carpet Fest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. When is it? Did they pick dates yet?
They haven't given a specific date yet. So we're looking at the end of August, I believe.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and do Carpet Fest. Dustin's going to try and do Carpet Fest.
Oh, really? Wow.
And then Dustin, myself, and Eric are going to try and do some PA herping. So Eric's got some cracking spots for timbers and copperheads. And then the lovely Mr. Loafman has got sites for some other things I want to see.
I know exactly what you're talking about, sir.
Of course you do.
Very envious.
Yeah. Oh, pop along, mate. It'd be ideal.
I will literally, if I play my cards right and it's in that same around time as Daytona, if I can drive up, I'll drive up.
100%, mate. That'd be awesome. And then we're talking about flying from PA straight to Florida to see you.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah. And then obviously you can take us out and show us some cool shit where you
live. Yeah. We gotta get with Eric's sister because she lives in what I would consider prime Diamondback territory.
Really?
Oh yeah. So I'll when we figure out dates, I'll see what.
Okay.
Find out where she exactly. I know the road she lives on. I don't know exactly where her house is, but she's in like one of the last surviving Diamondback countries.
Oh wow!
So we definitely have to revisit that.
Yeah, 100%. I will absolutely lose my shit if I see a pygmy in the wild. Do you understand that?
I mean hopefully I'm not going to say anything, knock on wood, but that's fairly that time of year. That'll be pretty good.
Oh, that's cool. And then I come back from there, and I'm hoping to put a trip together, which will be logistically very difficult, but I think it'll be worth the effort to do Naxos and Zamos in the same trip. So,
wow,
that's a lot of flying on little aircraft.
Yes, it is.
It's a big flight from the UK to Athens, which is a long flight, and then it'll mean getting a light aircraft from Athens to Naxos, where there's a lizard that I need to see. And
there's no ferry.
There is, but it takes so long out of your herping. You can get a ferry, but you're looking at about, I think, to memory, the like ferry
6 hours.
Yes, I think it's 9 hour, which is you've lost a day's herping.
Yeah.
Whereas the flight is under an hour.
Yeah.
And then get a plane back to Athens, and then get a different light aircraft onto Zamos. Zamos is a cracking island. It's got a really good selection of herps, and including Europe's biggest venomous snake on there, Vipera xanthina, which I've already seen, but the other people that are going haven't seen yet. It's got a couple of lizards I haven't seen.
What's interesting is when I worked at Strictly, we had one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was about this big. It was. You guys
cute.
can't see. I'm holding my fingers up about 15 inches, but yeah.
They can get hefty.
Yeah. That was very cool to have seen them. I'm envious, man. You're going to see it in person.
Yeah, I've seen it before. I mean, I've seen it in mainland Greece before. But yeah, there's some other things on the island that I need to see. So that would be very cool. Sadly, that will be it for the year, I think.
Oh, God forbid.
I might sneak one. I'm tempted to sneak a late September, early October trip into the Peloponnese in Greece.
Okay.
Because if all the trips go to plan, I will have one species left to see in Europe, then I'm done. And I don't know if I could just sit at home knowing that I've only got one species left to see. Yeah. So I might put some effort into trying to find that species late in the year. The only problem is the species that I've got left to see is like the Sonoran coral snake.
Ah, okay.
You can't really go looking for it other than being an area where it's found. And it's one of those, that I keep seeing pictures of birders that find them that aren't looking for them, which is so frustrating.
You got to find a local, man. You got to find a local who has already seen 3,
Yeah, 100%, something like that. And then just literally for a week, do nothing but walk about in a very small area. Yeah. And just hope the gods of herping favor you.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent, man. It's a hell of a year plan, man.
That's the plan. Let's hope it all works out.
Good shit.
And then, of course, don't forget, if your missus wants to go home and see family and you end up flying, I'll be straight out there, mate. Don't you
Oh
worry.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I would be straight out there. There's got interesting snakes on the island.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Well, sir, is there anything else you wanted to touch base on?
No, not really, mate. I think we've covered it. All I would say is thank you for everyone that's listened to us over the last year. I cannot tell you how much both Phil and I appreciate, taking your time. There's a shed ton of podcasts out there.
1000%.
We seem to be doing quite well in the ratings. I don't know why. I mean, we must be listening to Phil's voice. It's certainly not me. Really, really appreciate everybody that takes the time to listen. If anybody has a particular guest or an idea that they would like to hear, please just ping us a message. If you're going to get in touch with me particularly, although I do have a Facebook account, I very rarely go on Facebook these days. So if you're sending me a message on Facebook, I'm not being a dick and not replying. I'm just not on Facebook hardly ever.
Yeah.
But I will reply, within, as soon as possible if it's on Instagram.
Yeah. Instagram's the weapon of choice nowadays.
100%. So yeah, if you've got any ideas, if there's anything you'd like on, please hit us up on Instagram and we'll see what we can do. If you've got time, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps massively. It's really good. Please subscribe, tell your friends, all those things. Phil and I have been talking about maybe putting out some merchandise, t-shirts and hats and stuff like that. If anybody's interested, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Apart from that, just thank you for the year. Thank you, Phil, for all your assistance.
Thank you, sir.
Direction this year. It's been amazing.
Couldn't have done it without you, mate.
100%. And I hope the new year is fabulous for everybody. You
Yeah.
know, happy herping, happy keeping, stay safe. That's all from me.
Thank you, everybody.